Hello.
Hello.
How is everybody doing tonight? We are the Podcast Discovery Show. We're here to
It
talk
feels
about
like we've done
stuff.
this in so long.
It does feel weird. We missed 1 week, and it
What?
feels weird now.
Now I'm all out of sorts. How are you tonight, Kelnack?
Hey,
Thank
hey,
you.
Kelnack.
We appreciate you, friend. Been having fun with that VR. I'm still a little jealous, not gonna lie. I want to try it out. What's your favorite thing so far in the VR? What game is the coolest thing that you've or the thing that was the most mind blowing of experiences for VR? I think one of the coolest things I heard about was that you could literally be in a chat room that's in on the ISS, like almost like real time video of it going through space. Which, by the way, Zach, Jenny sent me like a link saying that it was like going straight over Florida. So I went outside and looked, and I went like at the perfect time because it was light enough that there was no stars that you could see except for the ISS and that like Saturn or whatever that's like once in every 800 years that we're able to see right now. So there was like two astral phenomenons that I haven't been able to that no one normally gets to see. I can see both of them.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So you saw the
I,
ISS fly over you?
yeah, I really wish I had a telescope though, because like it just looks like a star, except for that it's moving. I even like grabbed my binoculars, but
Binoculars.
it just looked like a brighter star.
I mean, that's exactly. Didn't you say that same exact thing when the solar eclipse happened? You just looked straight at with the binoculars, and it just looked weird.
I didn't look at the solar eclipse with binoculars. No,
Are you sure?
I don't. I think might be blind
Are
if
you
I would have done
sure?
that. I did look at it, but I was at work.
I used like welding glass.
That's what we had. We had literally welding masks, uh, and we were taking turns. We're like passing it back and forth, looking at it. It was pretty crazy.
On the intro for Endless Thread, did you want me to do Randonautica or Endless Thread?
Um, I think maybe the third paragraph of endless thread. If you do that, and then I'll jump and like kind of hit some touch points on the two hosts, and then you jump into Randonautica, then we can like ping pong it.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, gotcha.
So you just kind of mentioned the show where you heard about it, and then maybe that I think the third paragraph in that
Yeah,
big
I see it.
yeah, I think that might be the best section to read. Um, yeah, the rest of it's kind of the other two three paragraphs are just kind of filler.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess we can kick this thing off so we can get right to the video games. For anybody tuning in for the first time, we are the Podcast Discovery Show. We have a podcast about podcasts. It's a book club for podcasts. We talk about a new one each week. At the end of the episode, we're going to talk about the one that we're going to check out next week. Although this is season 4 finale. This is
Yes.
our final episode of season 4 we're going to record. So we're going to have a little break here on Twitch, at least for the podcast recording. We'll still be around on essentially the gaming side of things. But yeah, we have a lot of fun on Twitch. We love discovering new things. So thanks for checking out the stream.
I'm gonna look at how many episodes we did this year real quick.
12.
That's it, 12. Mm-hmm.
I
No,
knew it.
this will be our 42nd episode of PDS proper, not including Todd's. So basically, we did 84 episodes.
I feel bad for everyone's brain because that would imply if we're at about half an hour each, that is 40 hours of hearing me and Kirk talk to each other about stupid shenanigans with the occasional guest and other things. But we just love discovering new stuff. We've never gotten tired of discovering new stuff, so it's always fun when the season ends And then what we end up doing is we go and we ponder the ways that we can make the show better. So that's what's coming up next is we're going to think
Mhm.
of cool things that we can do for next season. But yeah, thanks so much for checking out the stream. Now, first we're going to talk about a podcast. You will hear about a lot about it very shortly. But then after that, we will do a show that we also have on our feed called The Other Discovery Show, which is just everything else we discovered throughout the week. And then we're going to play video games. We're going to play. I'm feeling like it's another night that's a good one for we need to play some Overwatch so that the mayor is now on comms and the mayor can tell us what to do. And I have a theory that we are going to be instantly better because we have someone at the helm of this ship. And I think it's going to be great. But then after that, I think it's always fun to, right before we stop playing, play like 3 games of Phasmophobia. And if
Dang
anybody
it.
is in chat, there's someone named Twiggly Bits in there, and she is now required to
We
play.
missed you so much too.
Yeah,
So
we
much.
missed you, Twigsley. But yeah, that's kind of the schedule for tonight. Thanks so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. We've had a great year on Twitch. It was about a year ago that we decided we were going to start live streaming our episodes, and
Yep.
it was rough at the beginning. We had we had some challenges, but
And I
it's
feel like it was very similar to when we first started podcasting, where it's like I hated hearing my own voice. And
yeah,
when
and
we
then you
started
can see your
doing
face too.
Twitch, it
It's
was
the
the same
worst.
thing. It was like we had to get over seeing our own faces.
Yeah,
And
I barely like seeing my own face in normal life.
I mean, I'm still not 100% cool with the face thing. I'm a little bit more used to it. I usually have it minimized on this screen over here, so
I can't do it
I don't
because I
really
have
see
to
it.
watch Streamlabs. I have to just look right at our faces the whole time, and it's terrible.
It's yeah, it's
But yeah,
unsettling at times.
it's been a fun year. It's been a really fun year. All right, Kirk, are you feeling
Yeah.
ready? Let me hit record on this bad boy.
Do it.
Let's see how much it moves the screen. Oh, there it is. I'm getting triggered.
I literally saw it jump.
And the dumbest part is that it has like a white bar at the bottom. What I should do is move mine. I'm sorry, it bothers me if I don't do it. I have to do it. I have to make it so it's even. Okay. Both the cameras are fuzzy? I'm not
They are kind of fuzzy a
I'm-
little bit on the playback. No, they aren't always like this. I'm not sure. I have my quality on really bad though.
I'm checking
I
on
don't
it.
know. It does look a little fuzzy, but I mean, it's not like unbearable. It's just yeah.
Yep, the show
Okay.
must go on. I'm sorry that it's fuzzy. But it could just be how our faces normally look. Like we look low resolution in real life. When people see us, they always mention that.
You're so low res.
It's like there's so many JPEGs on your face right now. I don't know what's happening. Okay. You are good whenever. We're at 1:30 on the recording and we're ready to go.
All right. Welcome to the Podcast Discovery Show, the podcast that's about other podcasts, where every single week we have a book club style discussion about a podcast that we were about. Dang it. I knew when we took a break.
1 week's all it takes to
That's
lose
all
the
it
intro.
takes. Just, I lost it. All right. Take 2. Welcome to the Podcast Discovery Show, the podcast that's about other podcasts, where every single week we have a book club style discussion about a podcast we recommended last week. And at the end of this episode, we're going to kick it off for next year, guys. This is the season 4 finale of the PDS.
Season finale. It's been a
So
great
this
year.
is going to be episode 42 for this season. So if you include Todd's, we put out 84 episodes of content, not including the live streams of like games and stuff. So we've done a lot of stuff, guys.
Yeah, I guess it's a good time to say thank you for listening to our shenanigans for all of those episodes. We really appreciate everybody joining us on this ride for sure.
Yes, thank you. And we did that whole like end of the season thing that they do on Spotify in particular, where they kind of give you all the stats. Stats were kind of crazy, I'm not gonna lie. We grew a lot this year. And in places that we never thought we were gonna grow, we grew like 350% in freaking Brazil. Thank you, brothers and sisters in Brazil. You guys are amazing. We grew like almost 200% here in the US. It's been a really good year for the Podcast Discovery Show, and we integrated it into video. Well, yeah, video and live streaming with our YouTube and our Twitch, and it's been fun.
It's been great.
It's been a lot of new stuff, and it's been a lot of fun. But all that to say, this is the final episode of the Podcast Discovery Show for this season. But we will be back the beginning of January with some brand new stuff, and like we do every year, we're going to go back to the drawing board. We're going to see how we can improve. So it's just going to get better from here, because that's what we always want to do, is always be discovering and always be getting better.
Yeah. Should we introduce ourselves?
No.
That's Kirk, and I'm Zach. So yeah,
no, Zach, if they don't know who we are 84 episodes in this season, then I don't know what to
we
say.
have to believe in our own advice. What if somebody's listening to it for the first time?
I'm kidding. I completely forgot.
I know.
It's been too long.
I was messing with you.
Yes, I'm Kirk.
And I am Zach. And this week we're talking about a cool show called Endless Thread. And Endless Thread I actually found because I think it was funny enough, I think it was a Reddit thread about shows that are good to binge. You know, shows that you can listen through a lot of them and just kind of, because Kirk has done those with Reply All. He's done it with a lot of shows. But there's something about some of these where you're learning something each time, and you can just kind of keep going back episode after episode, and it's always good. 99% Invisible is another great one. Radio Lab. A lot of these are really good for this. And Endless Thread is in that same vein, but this show is about Reddit itself. Endless Thread is hosted by Ben Brock Johnson and Amory Sivertson. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Sivertson may be it. And made by WBUR. It's a new podcast from WBUR and Reddit, and it delves into Reddit's boundless communities with the help of Reddit and Redditors, exploring some of the most compelling stories of the internet. This is a show for Reddit connoisseurs, skeptics, and the rest of us.
I love how you found a show about Reddit on Reddit.
Yeah.
And now we're going to talk about it on our podcast that's about other podcasts.
Yep. So, I mean, it's the most meta kind of combination you can get.
For sure. Yeah, so this show is hosted by Ben and Amory. Dang it. I don't remember how you say her name.
Amory Sivertson.
Amory.
I feel like that's what she said. We're very sorry. I should have thought about this before I just jumped right in about because I'm just reading it.
Dang it. It's time for a break, season break. Ben is a senior producer at WBUR, and he helps direct a lot of the editorial staff and things like that. He co-hosts this show, and he's the tech correspondent for Here and Now, which is another podcast, and he's also a guest host for On Point. I've heard of that podcast. It's a pretty popular one. Amory is the co-host of Endless Thread as well. She previously was one of the founding producers of Modern Love. I have heard of that one before as well. And Dear Sugar Radio. I hadn't heard of that one, but sounds interesting. And yeah, and before that, she was director and producer for Radio Boston. And she's also a musician. Thought that was interesting. She's releasing her 4th album later this year.
Oh, cool. But yeah, this episode specifically is called Randonauts. And for those of you who haven't heard that term, it is a subreddit dedicated to Randonautica, which is something I'd never heard of. Once I saw that thread about essentially the show itself, I went and looked at it. And they had one called Randonauts. I was like, okay, what Randonautica is an app for your phone that says it uses quantum-generated random points. to send you somewhere random. So, okay, what it is it's like a geocache with no geocache at the end. You have an app, you push a certain kind of point. It's all very complicated, but how they say that it works is they shoot a laser and then they measure where the photons are going, and that is how they collect random points. So they see where the photons are going, and places where all of the photons go is a certain type of point. Places where very few of the photons go is another type of point. And so they say that this way it's truly random because it's just light doing light things.
I had so many questions, and I mean, I still. You read the bio of Randonautica, you listen to this podcast, and there's still like I still have questions.
Yeah, and I did.
We've even used the app.
I
I
did
still
really
have
like this.
questions.
I did really like this about both this episode and kind of how they run the show. You know.
I think that's part of the joy, though, and part of the and part of the fun is there's like a mystery to it.
Oh, there
And
definitely is, and it's
completely
100%.
random.
It's 100% part of this too, because they also tell you when you're finding your random point to think about something. They essentially, I don't. This is their premise. I am not convinced that this is happening, but they say that you put your mental energy into like the nether as you're choosing your point, and it can send you somewhere specific or designed for you, is the premise. And so essentially all you do is you just push a button and it sends you somewhere random, and that is what Randonautica is. And there's an entire subreddit dedicated to people who call themselves randonauts who are just exploring around using this app.
Well, we used this the other day, and I'm wondering which one of us was looking for crack because we ended up in a crack house
I don't know who it
in
was.
the middle of nowhere.
We also had the other guy that works with us too, and there's no telling with him. He's a real wild card.
It was him. It had to
No,
be him.
but we did. Okay, it's a good place to talk about. We did try this app, so we got it. We went and we. Okay, disclaimer: where we work is really, really out in the sticks. There's nothing going on out there. It's just farms and like houses on big acreage type thing. And so there's not a lot of interesting places to go out there. It's more like you could probably find like some cool nature stuff, I would guess, where you can just something cool looking out there. But essentially, we put in everything and we got sent to, I'm trying to think how to describe this. A small, low income area that
At
had
a dead-end street.
It was essentially a dead end street with an abandoned like single wide. It was like nice enough, but I didn't see anyone in it, and that was it. They just took us. They took us to somebody's house.
The joke is my joke wasn't because it's a low income area. It's more because like that place is known for having a lot of
Yes,
drug
the
activity.
area we were sent has drug issues in general. So it was weird. It was a weird experience.
It was weird, and I don't know where else it would have sent us. To be honest, maybe to a farm, the 7-Eleven, the Dollar General. I don't know where else it could have sent us.
That's what I'm saying. Is it's very limited the cool places we could have ended up.
I wish that I want to try this in a city or even a small town, because like you said, we were not in either of those kind of places. So we weren't going to end up anywhere interesting. Anyway, we did find some peacocks. We saw some peacocks on the way to the place and a new paintball place. So we did discover some things. I didn't know that paintball was even still a thing. I used to play paintball.
I did not
it was
either.
Fun. But now there's a new one not too far from where we were.
So I mean, if that counts, we did discover a new paintball place that we're not going to use, and we discovered there was a peacock out there. So yeah. No, he says that because I was thinking as I found my place, the thing I was putting out into the air to try and shape our destination was discovery. So we were just trying to see what we could discover. But it was overall weird. I would do it again though. I would do it again in a more populated area. That'd be cool. But this show, Endless Thread, starts out by talking about potentially the worst thing that could happen to you. I think it's pretty, I'm sure you could find something terrible, but 3 kids, I think they said 3 teenagers were using Randonautica and showed up to, I can't remember what was their They're like thought. I can't remember.
Travel.
Travel. Oh yeah, that's right.
That's what was creepy
Yeah,
about it.
they were
That's what was
thinking
the
about
most creepy
travel.
about it.
Yeah, they were thinking about travel, and they got sent to a shoreline in Seattle, I think.
I don't remember
I
where
think
it
it
was
was
at.
Seattle, but they
I
got
listened to
sent.
this podcast twice. I have to listen to these things multiple times, and sometimes I still don't remember all. That's why it's a book club style discussion, not in depth, surgically taking notes and things like that. I do take some notes sometimes. I didn't this time.
Yeah, so they are sent to a shoreline in Seattle, and they find a briefcase, and then they find the briefcase and look inside, and there's a trash bag that smells bad, and they immediately called the cops. And what was discovered was the remains of two different people in this thing. And the only reason it was found as quickly as it was is because these teenagers were using Randonautica. And so that's kind of how they launch into the episode. But then they start talking about, and one of my favorite things about how this show works, Endless Thread, is they essentially gave space to all the different kind of angles of this application. So they talked to people who were like, "Oh, I was thinking I want to find something spooky, and I did immediately," or like there was one where she was like, "I wanted to find something that was meaningful and that like had her name there." And so they definitely explored that, like there's like a mystical side to this application. I think that's part
Mm-hmm.
of why it has like a community building. And they also talked about how much more popular it's gotten since COVID, because this is something you can do just outside. You can just go around and wander around, and you can still do
You
that.
can do it in your car. You don't have to get out. And of course, some places you don't want to get out. Um, I liked the idea. Granted, this maybe not applicable everywhere right now during COVID, but finding a new restaurant. That's the thing. I wish there was like a specific, like, hey, I want to find a random restaurant that I've never been to and try some new food, or a bar or something that I haven't experienced in that sense.
If I knew
Um,
how to make an app, I would 100% do that. Where you just go to random restaurants. You're like, I don't know what I want to eat, and that tells you something.
you just think hot dogs, and then you end up at a place that serves hot dogs.
He says that because he's always thinking about hot dogs. It's just his default thought. Hot
Oh, he's
dogs.
got wiener on the brain, huh?
He said it, not me. But yeah, they essentially go from that point to they. I like how you're gonna just not do anything. You're gonna say that and then just
It was
sit
a
there.
joke,
I
and then
know.
you let it sit way too long.
I thought you were
Um,
gonna say something, but no, you just.
I knew when I said hot dogs, I was like, man, I chose the wrong thing. That was the first. I guess I always have hot dogs on the brain. That's what came out.
Yep. So that one's at like about 16, a little before.
Yeah, I wrote it.
So after they kind of like let people explore the mystical side of it, they essentially kind of try and break down what the application is. So I probably did not do enough justice to what they're trying to do, but they literally brought in one of the founders of Randonautica to talk about one, what the purpose of the app is and what they were trying to accomplish, but then two, talk about this specific incident where because people started saying like, "Oh, Randonautica sent them to a body. How did they know? Did Randonautica kill these people and put them in a suitcase?"
And then
It
tell them themselves.
yeah, and then immediately send kids there. Yeah, it's a genius crime. Uh, but yeah, they talked to actually one of the people who created this application, so that's also a really cool thing. And then they kind of explore the skeptic side, like the hardline skeptic side of kind of this same conversation of is it even possible that it would in any way be connected to what you're thinking? And I believe he was a psychiatrist from Canada, and he basically just talks about his whole worldview and how it doesn't really seem possible that you would be able to do that you'd be able to send out your mental vibes and affect what's happening.
Yeah, I I'm I'm not there with that. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not. I don't get it.
I don't know what kind of magic they would have had to have done to making this app for that to actually work. But yeah, I'm skeptical as well. But I just like the premise of when you're doing a show like this. That's because it's an interesting app. It is.
It's definitely
We
interesting.
had like a mediocre experience the first time doing it, but it's an interesting premise where you kind of get to explore around, and it's more just location based than like you go try and find a treasure or anything. You literally are just there to explore. And then you add in kind of the mystical elements, and you have something that it makes perfect sense that people are kind of having conversations about this thing because it's a pretty cool premise. It's essentially if Pokemon Go were spookier.
And could maybe have you stumble. Well, no, there's been some crazy stories with Pokemon Go too. So I remember when that first came out and people were going crazy about it, and people were ending up in place. Why are there so many Pokestops in stinking cemeteries? Because that's weird.
No, because you can wander around there. You
And
know what I
they're
mean?
still okay. So it's funny. My kids wanted to play it again. I don't know, maybe a year ago, which was already the hype was dead, whatever. And I kind of thought no one's really playing this anymore. We got the app, and we live in this little town, and there's Pokestops everywhere, but there's a bunch of them near the cemetery. And dude, I took my kids, and we were just in the car, but we were hitting all the things, and there was like 4 other cars out there doing the same thing still. And I was like, dude, I guess a lot of people still play this game, and I didn't realize it.
COVID. COVID
Yeah,
brings things back
that was
because
before COVID though, but I'm sure that it's actually back pretty strong right
yeah,
now.
it would seem like it would be, because the premise is fun, and it's really interesting to see the rise of all these. Augmented reality is probably too strong for Randonautica because it's more like
Yeah.
a geocache, but
Hmm.
uh, the gamifying of having your phone rather than just like playing a game on your phone. You know what I mean? It's not just like you're playing Candy Crush. You're using your phone as like a tool to play a game. It like incorporates travel and exploring and things like that.
No,
So
I do love the premise of like discovery, like literally like discovering something new, ending, being adventurous. There, it's an adventure, and I get that, and there is an appeal that, I mean, definitely appeals to me. I'm a sucker for, you know,
a
hey,
hot
let's go
dog.
do something to and a hot dog. But uh, just not knowing where I'm gonna go and just leaving and be like, okay, we're gonna go to this town, and I don't know where we're gonna eat lunch, but we're gonna figure something out. I don't know, what we're gonna do, but we'll find something. And some of the coolest adventures that I've been on have been with zero planning ahead of time.
Oh yeah,
It's
any
always a little bit more
vacation I've
fun.
ever taken, I'm fine with making sure that you hit the main things you want to hit, but there needs to be at least one day that's a random day where you just go. You just go wander around and find out where life can take you, you know? Because I feel like that's the really fun thing is kind of when you're wandering around in a city, you can really kind of get the character of it. I feel like that's when you really feel like you're like in the city and really getting it is because you're just wandering around looking and seeing what all these random stores are or what all these random monuments or natural scenery. So yeah, I definitely love the premise of this. I'm not sure that it's at all mystical, but it doesn't
No,
matter if it is or not. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter because the premise is cool. I wish that I better understood how they use a laser to make you a random thing because I don't. I mean, it could just be I'm not smart enough for his description. Could be part of it because like I don't know how
I don't.
photons
I don't.
work. I
I
don't
don't
know.
think so. I
I
don't think that it's us not being smart enough on this one.
hard to
Most of the
tell.
time, I usually lean towards I'm probably not smart enough, but on this one, I think it's a little woo woo.
Could be, but in the end, it's a pretty fun app. If you want to just go randomly explore, that is available to you now. You can go do that. It's a fun thing, and you should let us know if you find something cool. If you're in a more urban setting, it's probably going to be cooler. Like obviously they have a crazy list of like don't do any of these million things while you're wandering around to random
Yeah, like
places.
don't go on to someone's piece of property if it's
That
you
was our
know.
main concern in the country. Is like we're
Yeah,
not going to just like wander around onto somebody's
you
land.
get shot.
Yeah,
You get shot for
pass
sure.
on that. But yeah, it's a cool app. But then the show really did highlight the community well. They really did bring out kind of what this whole thing was about. I had never heard of this before, and apparently it has blown up a lot since COVID and everything. But I never heard about it, and it really does kind of take you down the entire path of each different angle you can look at this thing, and then kind of the fandom, because that's what subreddits end up being. They end up being fandoms, communities based around a thing, and it can be a great thing. It can be a stupid thing, just like anything else on the internet. It's a double-edged sword of the internet. It can be amazing and it can be terrible. But Endless Thread is a really cool show, and if you're at all interested in learning new stuff, or Reddit, obviously, if you're interested in kind of Reddit, small niche communities,
There's so many
it's a great
things.
thing.
I mean, literally, there's so many amazing things on Reddit, so many horrible things on Reddit. It's just, and they talk about a lot of them. And I'm looking at some of the things. I actually had listened to an episode of this show before. I think it was specifically about sleep studies and stuff like that. But they have one about LSD and hot sauce. They have one about
What? LSD and hot sauce?
Yep. They have one. Okay, we started playing that next one where they was talking about a lady that was trying to make a suit for a llama, and I want to finish the
Okay,
rest
I
of that
do want
episode
I do want to do that one.
because
What was that? No stupid questions? Was that the subreddit
yes,
they were doing?
yep.
Because yeah, she asked about what was general measurements
What are
for a
the
llama.
dimensions?
Oh
What are the
yeah, that was
dimensions of an adult llama?
yeah. What are the dimensions of an adult llama? Is one of the best questions I've ever heard. And what she was doing, she had to make a suit for a llama, and so she asked the internet for some general dimensions
Her
so she
question
could.
was this: I've been hired to make a tuxedo for a llama, and I don't have its measurements.
I mean, it's a.
I
It's a,
mean, what's not to love about that question or that discussion?
I mean,
It
it's a
sounds
normal problem people have. Your llama needs a tuxedo, so you go hire a llama tailor. But the llama tailor doesn't know the size of llama you have. It's
I
I
have a
mean it's all
question.
the
What do
time.
you think? What do you think the occasion was for the llama to be in such?
Clearly a wedding. It's the
Is
ring
okay.
bearer.
I was gonna ask if you think it was in a wedding or
Yes.
what was going on.
I mean I guess it could be like a butler. Like their llama's a
It's,
butler.
it's a llama butler.
I don't know.
A red
I don't think
carpet.
there's a great answer. You know, I'm trying to think what would be the most
I think
appropriate
all
answer.
answers are great for this. I think is the true. Um, they talk about angel glow, which I want to listen to that one because that one is crazy. The whole Civil War thing
Oh
ended with
yeah.
that like all these wounds on the started getting, I guess, covered with this some sort of fungus that was actually healing the soldiers' wounds,
But
but
it
it
was
glowed in the dark
yeah, it was like bioluminescent somehow.
in the Battle of Shiloh. Oh man, crazy story, and I would like to learn more about it. Anyway, they talk about a lot of different things. Of course, they talk about QAnon because there's a giant community on Reddit about that. So QAnon casualties, I'm sure that one is something I don't want to even think about anymore right now. But they talk about a lot of different things on Reddit that are fascinating, and so it's a great show. And no matter what you're into, there's got to be an episode that you would like.
Yeah, no, or if you're just interested in not having to go to the subreddit, but to know that it exists, that's also a great option for Endless Thread. But yeah, it definitely is one of those shows. It was like I said, I saw it basically as a show that you could binge, and you 100% could. You could learn about a bunch of really small Reddit communities and the sometimes weird things that they're about. But yeah, really, really awesome show, and had a great time listening to it and exploring, even though our destination wasn't great for the first
I
time.
think we're gonna have to give it another try. Maybe next time we're in town
Mm-hmm.
or something like that. Maybe not being from our location at work.
Yeah. Yes, I agree.
So I guess that brings us to, I guess, what we're gonna kick off 2021 as a recommendation. And we kind of always pick a long form podcast for episode one. Like I think that's when we did Hardcore
It
History
is.
because we knew it was like 6 hours.
We wanted to give people plenty of time.
So you have plenty of time to listen to this. I think this is going to be around 3 hours total. So we're giving you 3 episodes of one show. It's such a good show, and
It was
me
really
and Zach
good.
actually just listened to it on our little road trip. and we listened to the whole thing, and it's just great. And by great, I mean it's fascinating.
It's
For us, it had
hilarious.
like this weird nostalgia. It was very funny. And the name of the show is Fraudsters. And we're going to talk about the first 3 episodes, which I have to say, for a pilot episode, it was great.
Oh yeah,
Like, I wish our first episode was that good.
yeah. I mean, that's a very impressive pilot. But yeah, it's really good.
But it's about Miss Cleo. Do you guys remember the
Okay,
Miss
we're
Cleo
dating
commercial?
ourselves here, but who else
Oh,
remembers Miss
definitely.
Cleo? Because we did. We remembered those commercials about calling Miss Cleo. I never did it because I knew my mom would kill me if I got charged on the phone to talk to a psychic.
$5 a minute
Yeah,
was
it was
after the
$5 a
first
minute.
3 minutes or something. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
So I knew my mom would kill me even if it was $1 a minute. Just any phone bill that would have been a problem. But yeah, Miss Cleo, the easily the most famous Jamaican phone psychic in the history of the world. Uh, but yeah,
Is
it.
she Jamaican? I guess you guys will have to find out when you listen to the podcast.
Oh no, it goes. Honestly, the first of 3 episodes is about Miss Cleo. Then it goes deeper, and
There's so many layers. It's
it's
like
really cool. It's a really good
there's
show.
and there was a lot more fraud in that situation than I would have thought. To be
There
honest,
was
I thought
lots of fraud. There was fraud everywhere.
so much. It was so many frauds. But it's a great show. It's called Fraudsters. We're gonna do the first 3 episodes, and they're all about Miss Cleo and this what is it, psychics something hotline.
Psychic Readers Hotline, something
Yep,
like that.
that's it. Uh, man, such horribleness, such horrible things.
Yeah.
Uh,
If uh if you don't want to be disturbed by the amount of shenanigans going
exploitation,
on.
I guess.
Hmm?
Exploitation of like most of the time people
Yeah.
that are just looking for some sort of validation or hope or lifeline,
It's
you
all
know.
pretty slimy. Pretty much
It,
all of it's pretty slimy. But yeah, it's honestly extremely interesting. The hosts are really funny. We think you guys are gonna love it.
yep. And remember, guys,
There's always more to discover.
we will see you guys in 2021. Can you hear my chair? It's been making so much noise.
I can hear your chair.
Well, I mean, I wasn't doing that the whole time, but I don't know why it's being so noisy.
But I think that you could gate that out. You know what I mean? I think that you could find that specific like noise and cut it. All right, let me stop this. First one down.
Man, I felt rusty on that one. Whew.
Yeah, I mean,
How
you
bad
definitely.
is the first episode of 2021 gonna be?
It's gonna be really good.
It's gonna be
You don't say
so
it's
bad.
bad. All you have to do is not say that you have wieners on your mind.
I
Much it moves the screen. Oh, there it is.
You're the one that alluded to it.
How did I allude to that?
I just said hot dogs. You're like, always got hot dogs on your mind.
Why do I sound like a New York hot dog vendor?
Hey, get your hot dog. All right. It is time for the other Discovery show. Here, give me a second.
Okay, give us 2 minutes. We're gonna go be right back for 1 second, just
Yeah,
so we
let's do
can get everything set, and then we are back for some more discoveries. Everything else that we've discovered throughout the week that are not podcast related, and then it's game time.
Game time. We might be playing some Among Us. I think we might have enough people, and that would be a lot of fun.
That would be fun.
We can probably do all the things.
Yeah,
We
I
can
think we
play
could
some
do
Among
both.
Us.
Yeah.
We can then play some Overwatch, and then we can end the night with Farm Simulator 19. Right?
You're talking about how you're gonna finish your night, no matter what happens. Like I'm gonna go farming.
I'm loving that game so much. It reminds me of like Stardew Valley, but much more crunchy.
Yeah. Okay, everybody, we're gonna be right back. Thanks so much for hanging out.
Farmsmophobia. Yeah, that's it.
Farmsmophobia. There's ghosts in this farm.
There are ghosts in them hills. All right, we'll be right back.
we are back.
And we're back.
We're ready to talk about other stuff we discovered throughout the week.
Yes, we are. I am so excited about my discoveries. They're so good.
You all should be
So
too.
excited.
There's some
You all
special
should be
ones.
so excited.
There's some very, very special ones in here.
I'm gonna switch mine and save the best for last.
What, you're gonna switch that one?
How
Oh,
easy
I
is
see what
it
you're
for
saying.
you to play something on the stream?
What's that?
How easy is it for you to play something on the stream?
Depends on what we're playing. Because the main problem is we'll get a DMCA takedown if it's not ours on YouTube.
So we probably couldn't play a trailer for something on.
No.
Yes, no, you don't
No.
think?
No, we
Okay.
got it booted us last time. I don't know why this has changed your screen so much that now I can't put your name over it.
Whoa, yeah, it's more. It's a lot different.
I'm gonna see if I can fix it. But yeah, we can't really do that. Because yeah, it gave us a takedown on that one. It was a video about a guy making water in like South America or something.
Oh yeah, we did get that takedown, didn't we? Well, I mean, they just silenced
Yeah,
it, didn't they?
no, they wouldn't even let me upload the video.
Oh. Yeah.
So yeah, but we could put the link in chat.
True.
That we can do. Okay, here we go.
Here, I'm gonna. All right, I saved it. So we're already recording, right? So I can just jump in.
Launch right in. We're at 2:15.
All right. Welcome to the Other Discovery Show, the podcast that's not about podcasts. It's the bonus show from the Podcast Discovery Show, where we talk about all the other things that we discovered throughout the week. I'm Kirk.
And I am Zach. And this week, I discovered a robot that I could never afford, but would be awesome. So there's a robot kitchen that is made by Moli Robotics that literally is a giant. Here, I'll put this in chat so everybody can see it.
Yeah, no, I
but
want to see
it's
this.
a giant. It looks like a robot crab hanging from the ceiling that has over 5,000 recipes that literally you push a button and the robot will make you
What?
dinner, and then after it makes you dinner, it will also clean up.
What? Dude, this thing looks like something from the Jetsons, dude.
Yeah, it's crazy looking. So this is from a Russian robotics company. And essentially they wanted to figure out how to do this with restaurants, I think was the original plan. And what they have now, though, is something that's available, but costs 250,000 euro. So basically, you can get a house or you can get a robot that's going to cook all your food for you. But he does say that there's been 1,200 people who really want to buy one of these things. And a quote from the creator of this: "What you're looking at here is the world's first consumer robotic kitchen. Like all breakthrough technologies, cars, televisions, and computers, it will appeal to enthusiasts, professionals, and early adopters, and is priced accordingly." I don't know that priced accordingly. I mean, I guess it is a pretty sophisticated robot. Like, I don't really know of any like robots you can get. Like a Roomba's like $200, but all that does is vacuum.
Hey, DJ Roomba's awesome. I love my Roomba.
But yeah,
my Roomba's
basically this is a whole thing. So this robot was developed with the assistance of a winner of MasterChef on BBC, and essentially they captured his cooking techniques in 3D and then translated it into algorithms for this robot.
Really? No, that's even cooler. No, that's awesome. And okay, now, of course, I want one of these things. It sounds awesome. Anybody would want this. But if you're talking about like this thing being able to do what it's supposed to be able to do for like a restaurant, that's not near as ridiculous to think about.
No,
Um,
it definitely seems to make more sense if it could just be blasting through, because it could be 24 hours. Aside from like maintenance cycles, you don't have to pay the robot to work there. You don't have to like give it any breaks. You just let the robot go do robot things
I
in the
mean,
back.
literally, if it does the job of like 2 or 3 people, then it could pay for itself. I mean, I don't know. It sounds like it sounds crazy. It sounds like something out of, like I said, the Jetsons, something that's way too far in the future that would never actually be a thing, but it's a thing.
What was okay? I'm assuming because you keep referencing it, you watched the Jetsons as a kid. What was the thing on the Jetsons that you wanted?
Oh my god, the freaking like flying car that turned into a suitcase.
Yeah, that definitely was one of them. The other thing that seemed amazing was the whole like morning routine machine. That
Yes.
like it would just put you on a conveyor belt and you wouldn't have to actually do anything, and it would like
You just
give you a
like
shower.
put your clothes on,
Yeah.
give you a shower.
It's just like, I'm not going to wake up until I'm at work. My car's going to fly me there, and then it's going to turn into a briefcase. I'm going to go inside. No, the Jetsons is amazing. But on this robot, there are a couple more chefs who are working to kind of go for the launch of this thing. They've created 30 new dishes to showcase the capabilities, and then they're going to add new recipes every month. And the company has said that ultimately customers will be able to select from a digital menu of more than 5,000 choices, as well as having the option to record their own favorite dishes. So
What?
if
You
you
could give it
have,
your grandma's recipe
yeah,
and you could make grandma's tamales?
yeah, or
Oh
like
my god.
Nana's biscuits made by a robot every morning.
That's amazing.
I mean, it's definitely something that if I was like ludicrously rich and could just drop 250,000 euro on something that's, I can't tell if it's laziness or if it's genius. You know what I
Okay,
mean?
so
Because
I
I
like
like cooking.
cooking. I like cooking.
We said that basically at the same time.
But like the fact that you can have like almost the perfect meal made for you just by you can imagine like being like, "Hey Alexa, I want this for dinner." And then it gets your robot to make it while you're driving home from work.
Yeah.
That sounds amazing.
Or I could at least tell the robot to be my like sous chef. So it can it can like peel the potatoes and like cut them up, and I'll get home and I'll do the cooking part.
We're having our small first Christmas thing tomorrow, and I have to make both a sweet potato thing and my famous mashed potatoes. So I have so many potatoes to peel in the morning, and I'm
I
not
like how
looking
they're
forward
like,
to
you're
it.
the potato guy. Both
I'm the
kinds of
potato
potatoes.
guy. I don't know how it happened, but I am the potato guy. And I have to peel so many potatoes. I mean, luckily I have children, so I usually make them help me peel the potatoes.
Does that
but-
work? Can you convince them to peel potatoes?
Yes, yes, yes.
I
Because then
mean-
they're like, I want to help. I'm like, okay, peel these potatoes.
Peel the potatoes. No, I mean, that wasn't even my least favorite thing. The worst thing for me was like shucking peas.
Shucking corn was the one I hated.
I didn't mind corn. I think I got used to that. But yeah,
Okay,
no,
well,
see,
this is what would happen with me is it would be every summer, and my dad would go to the market and he would buy a truckload. So like the whole back of his truck would be full of it. So you're talking about like 400 ears of corn. So it wasn't like, okay, we're gonna shuck 15 ears of corn, 5 ears of corn. It was like 100, because then my mom would like make cream corn and freeze it, and it was just like, oh my god,
That
it
sounds
was the
good.
worst. And it was always like, you can't do anything until you shuck all the corn. Then you can go swimming. Then you can go ride your bike.
that is not how your dad sounded when I remembered it, at least.
No, it wasn't my dad. My dad didn't care. He didn't care who shucked the corn. He's just like, I ain't doing it. I bought it. Someone figure out who's doing it.
I bought it, so I'm not responsible for the shucking.
No, that was my mom. My mom was a teacher as well, and the summers were the worst. I mean, it was the best and the worst, because like she would buy me school books and make me do math and reading stuff in the summer so that I wouldn't forget stuff. So I'd have to wake up in the morning and basically do homeschool in the summer. And I remember my friends would come over and I still would have to do it. So they'd be swimming in the pool without me while I'm doing my math lessons during the summer.
Got him.
I, I hate them so much. I
Is that
hated
why
them
you
so
hate
much.
math?
Yes, that is exactly why I hate
That's
math.
why he hates math and corn. So now you
I
know.
hate, I hate both so much. Just give me a hot dog. I love hot dogs.
You and the hot dogs. Don't try and blame this on me.
All right, so I found this. I mean, it's just an amazing article. It's so good. I'm gonna share it here in the chat real quick because you got to see the little picture. It's about this science experiment that they did. It was a it was a science experiment about rats, but and I guess they're in enriched environments or whatever. You know, they'd give them things to play with, or a wheel that they could run in, and some like a ball that they could roll around. But they went a little bit further.
It looks adorable, the picture I'm seeing on the front of this article.
They made a car that the
What?
rats could drive, and they actually learned how to drive. Obviously, the first picture is just like a rat in a toy car, but the next one is the actual car that they built for the rats.
No, like
Um,
I'm watching this video and
mhm.
everybody should stop what you're doing right now. If you're listening, go to the show notes and click this video because you can watch this rat drive the car around a little room. I mean, it's safe. It's safe for the rat, but he's driving around a car and hitting walls, and it's amazing.
it the article reads: If you're going to teach rats to drive, first you need to build them a car or a rat-operated vehicle. The chassis and powertrain come from a robot car kit. It looks kind of like a RC car, and a transparent plastic food container provided the body. Explaining the idea of a steering wheel and pedals to a rat was probably a little too difficult, so the controls were three copper wires stretched across an opening cut out of the front of the bodywork and an aluminum plate on the floor. When a rat stood on the plate and gripped a copper bar, a circuit was completed, and the motors would engage. One bar made the car turn left, one made it turn right, and the third made it go straight ahead. If proof were needed that many existing psychology tests are too simple, rats did not take very long to learn how to drive this thing. uh, they basically made this arena so that the rats could drive in it, but they would they learned how to control the vehicle very well. And at first, they would like put treats in different areas of the arena thing that they would have to drive to and then get. But then eventually, even if there wasn't a treat, the rats would just get in there and just drive around
That
because they just
is
loved it.
that's amazing. Like seriously, watch that video, everybody listening, because I feel better now just because I watched that rat driving around a car.
And what's funny is the whole premise of the science experiment was to see if enriched, uh, I guess, what do they call it? Like enrichment, where they'd give them things to do other than
Mm-hmm.
just be in a cage with nothing in it. They had a control group which was, in laboratory cages with nothing else in
They
it,
didn't get to drive cars.
and the ones that were able to drive cars and do all these other cool things. And it actually didn't make a difference. Both the rats were the same amount of stress. Supposedly, it didn't make a difference, but they did find out that rats could learn how to drive cars really quick and
No, and
easy.
liked it is the best
And
part
they
that they
loved
just
it.
do it for fun.
Said although both groups of rats learned to drive the car, the ones that lived in the enriched environment were quicker to start driving. They continued to be more interested in driving even when there was no reward on offer beyond the thrill of the wind in one's fur. So they did do a test with the control group as well that were normally in laboratory cages, but the ones that had the enriched cages learned how to drive quicker
Hmm.
because they were used to like messing with things and you know manipulating a ball or a rope or the little spinny wheel thing. So it's a fascinating article, and the pictures are hilarious. The video is the cutest thing ever, and I just thought it was awesome. It's an awesome article and study. Let me look up what this was from. The University of Richmond is the one that did
Hmm.
this test.
Yeah,
But it
that's
was really fascinating and a great visual. So yeah, definitely check the link out in the show notes because it's worth your time.
Do we have any Google Voice calls? I know this is an edit, but this is the time that we would normally do it.
I didn't see any come in. I don't remember if we hit all the ones that we were supposed to. I think we did.
Yep.
So
Yep, we've seen it. That the last one I have on there is a masket or casket.
Masket or casket. Good old Johnny.
Okay. So I don't know if you saw this, but you probably at least saw something related to it. The Arecibo telescope was destroyed recently, and it was destroyed just by collapsing. And if you haven't seen the Arecibo telescope, what it looked like was
Is that the one in Puerto Rico?
yes,
Or
yeah, it's in Puerto Rico.
Okay.
It's featured in Goldeneye. That's like one of the, I think it's the climax fight scene. Sean Bean and Pierce Brosnan are fighting each other in the middle of this thing. But essentially it's this huge dish, and then there was 3 towers surrounding it that all had cables that would suspend a 900-ton platform of all of the electronics and things above the dish at the bottom. And the platform fell and absolutely smashed the disc. And this was not something that was kind of just, oh, well, telescope went down. This was met with a lot of emotion. There was a lot of people who were very upset about it, so I wanted to learn a little bit more about it. So this has been going for a really long time, for nearly 60 years. It has been looking for things. It's been involved in finding Nobel Prize winnings in physics. Like I think, discovered pulsars, which is a spinning star.
Oh yeah.
They
Things that make that weird noise.
yeah, and they essentially had just a really weird personality for like a research center. So one of the other main things that they were very famous for was, I don't even know how you pronounce it, but I think it's SETI Institute, and it's SETI. It's the search for extraterrestrial intelligence. So what all they're trying to do is they are searching for radio signals that could signify that there is something out there. And they not only were searching, they were also sending out signals as well. Because essentially they just want to have it so that, just like we're looking for random signals coming in, somebody else might be doing the same thing far away. But until 2016, this was the largest single dish telescope in the world. And essentially all of these towers that were around it were 111 meters high. And it essentially is right in the middle of a forest. And so they were able to get really crazy visuals from this because there was no light pollution. It was very like forward thinking in how they did things. And then one of the things they also did was, this was a very hands-on type of facility. So they would always encourage experimentation over there. So here's a quote. Most observatories won't let you touch anything, but at Arecibo, you could play around with the telescope. They let you tinker and play and occasionally break things. And they essentially would welcome people who wanted to do whatever there. They were kind of free thinkers in that they wanted people to just be able to explore in any way that they could use that technology to explore. They were 100% behind it. And so that's how it got really popular with the SETI groups, is because essentially there was a limited amount of telescopes that they had access to, but then they could go work with Arecibo. And so essentially they worked there. In 1977 was the first time a SETI scientist, because first of all, almost a lot of very prestigious schools have SETI departments. You know, this is not something like, I know that when you say like extraterrestrial intelligence, it kind of points you to the idea of like, okay, somebody's
Ancient
like,
aliens.
yeah, somebody's looking for UFOs, or yeah,
The
ancient
guy with the
aliens.
crazy hair.
Yeah, the guy from Ancient Aliens. But I do think that there's more than that. They're essentially just looking for abnormalities in space That's really what it comes down to. And so there's a lot of colleges, prestigious ones even, across the country that are involved in this. And so a lot of times what they had set up is they would also incorporate people to do it. Like we've talked about a couple of these large data projects where they would invite volunteers to be a part of it because there's just so much to sift through.
Mm-hmm.
If you can have a wide group of people all giving some time to it, it'll help you cut it down. So there was a lot of projects going out of here. And in 74 they actually started blasting a radio signal towards star clusters to try and do that same thing where they're trying to send out signals so that other people could see us too. But basically, everything about this place was just kind of collaborative. It would allow people to go experience a really cool structure. It would allow researchers to use any technology they could, and so I think that's mostly why people were sad about it. It was a very, I don't even know how you describe it, but it was very out. There was a lot of outreach from this actual facility,
Yeah.
and
And there's actually a video of it
yeah,
collapsing.
they released a video, a drone footage of it collapsing, and it
Did
full on
did
explodes.
they know it was gonna collapse?
Yes, they were afraid. They knew that one of the wires had too much tension on it, but they couldn't
Oof.
figure out how to fix that because it was 900 tons. The platform that was being held up weighed so much. They didn't know
Jeez,
how
yeah,
to
that's
fix it, so they were working on that, and then I think it was like the first of this month, it just fell and destroyed the entire dish. So now the question is, and it's still up in the air because there's a lot of outreach on trying to get something like this again. They have kept everybody on staff still there. They're trying to figure out, do we build something new that has this kind of capabilities next to it? Do we try and repair this one, or do we just try and pivot to something else? So right now it's still completely up in the air, but I feel like it's got a really cool legacy of essentially what their ethos was as a research station.
yeah, no, and I don't remember where I heard this. I don't know if it was a podcast or if I was listening to like I listen to like the news thing in the morning. It's like a 10 minutes and it gives a small snapshot of all the news. It may have been that. But they were talking about this satellite or whatever you call it had it was in a little town, but it brought a lot of tourism. Like I think they said like 50 to 100,000 people a year would come to visit this thing.
Hmm.
And so now that it's not there, they're trying to. But the thing is, to replace it, it's going to be like I forget. I think it was like $500 million or something
Yeah, I think it's
ridiculous.
ludicrously
it
expensive.
was it was a ridiculous amount of money, but it was crazy how much like tourism was brought into that very small town because of this thing that now will completely dry up. Like if that thing's not there anymore or not something even somewhat comparable to replace it, it's gonna literally change the whole economy of that town because I'm sure
Yeah,
there's a decent economy built around the tourism to this scientific site.
yeah. Bonus on this website I'm on called Supercluster. It says it has a launch countdown. So I guess just whenever there's a launch of any kind, they have a countdown. Virgin Orbit launches first crewed spacecraft from New Mexico. So I guess Virgin,
Mm,
like airlines,
yeah,
is
yeah.
doing their first crewed launch. So another contestant enters for the private space industry. It's in 13 hours.
Guys, there's a lot of exciting stuff going on in like the space stuff. It's fascinating and it's exciting and literally there's so much going on that a lot of times you just miss it. There was a launch the other night and I didn't even know about it. And it was a beautiful night and I wish I would have known because I could have probably seen this one. Uh
That's always
and
my problem. I looked at so many trying to see them, and I missed. Like I couldn't see anything, so I gave up.
yeah. Guys, I have the discovery of discoveries. It is I think the day this comes out is either the day that it's going to release or the day before on the 13th. So that will be yeah. So the day that No, I guess it's the day after. But you can watch it whenever. I've never wanted to have Lifetime's streaming service until now.
I
And I'm
still
sure
don't want
that's
it,
why they
honestly.
did it. This is exactly why they did it. I mean, there's no reason why not. Um, guys, it looks amazing. This is KFC has partnered with Lifetime to make a steamy holiday mini movie. There's so many words in there that like I don't know how they all go together. KFC, steamy, Lifetime, holiday, and what the heck is a mini movie? But it it's so good and so ridiculous. Um,
It. I.
it's gonna be finger licking good. That's all I
Oh
gotta say.
God.
It's gonna.
What like
And
the
it's
thing?
called A Recipe for Seduction. So it's it looks so ridiculously preposterous. It's gonna be a 15-minute short film with Mario Lopez as Colonel Sanders.
You heard that right. AC Slater is now playing Colonel Sanders.
Um, I'm gonna read some of this press release because this is
It's like our mini version of
it's
Munch Squad. I guarantee they have to cover this,
there's
right?
no way. There's no way that they don't. There's no possible way. The mini movie is full of mystery, suspense, deception, foul play. Get it? Foul like chickens, foul. And at the heart of it, love and fried chicken.
Like the level of self awareness for this, I will give them, makes it sound hilarious because okay,
You've
KFC's
got to
done weird
watch
stuff before,
the trailer. It's so ridiculous because you can tell they actually made it seem serious. Like,
but like fake serious, like soap
but
opera
yes,
serious.
yes, it feels like a soap opera. 1,000%. The release describes the film as a quote unquote steamy holiday love affair involving a young heiress whose mother has handpicked a suitor for her. But when a handsome young chef with a secret fried chicken recipe and a dream arrives, he sets in motion a series of events that unravel the mother's devious plans. And there's a picture of it's just even the thumbnail of the show or whatever you want to call this mini movie. It's just preposterous because it's Mario Lopez cosplaying as freaking Colonel Sanders.
I know, it's
it just
messed
gets me
up.
every single
Yeah,
time.
it's weird looking. No, and he's not like old Colonel Sanders. This is young Colonel Sanders, young dapper Colonel Sanders.
First of all, how does this guy still look so young and like regular and like he looks younger than me?
Yeah, he does. He looks younger than we
get
do.
it.
I don't know.
I don't get it. And they took it even a step further, guys. KFC and Uber Eats are offering a special promotion in conjunction with the film. 6 free extra crispy tenders with a purchase of $20 or more that will be available between December 13th, when this debuts, and the 19th via the mobile food delivery app. So, in promotion for this promotion for Lifetime's streaming service, you can get 6 free extra crispy tenders.
You get 6 tendies from Uber in Lifetime. So there's that. Now, whoever is in charge of KFC's marketing department right now is like just tripping balls all the time. Like, do you remember the dating simulator game?
Yes.
Like, it is just one of the wildest things I've ever heard. And then now there's a Mario Lopez movie about it. So it's just.
And it's probably, to be honest, it's probably in response to how successful of a marketing campaign that stupid dating simulator was. Because it's preposterous as well.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. And that's the thing.
Mean, it has to be. I've never played it, but I'm sure it's
they're
got to be.
self-aware enough that it makes it fun and not like annoying. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's wild. So that comes out.
Remember when they made a sandwich where the bun was chicken?
I do.
I never had one.
Yeah, I didn't either.
You
They
ever
called
have
it a
one?
double down. right?
Double down. That was it.
Yeah, it's
Yes,
literally
that
just
was
like
it.
we put two pieces of chicken together, sandwich.
Try not to get greasy while eating this.
No, they gave it to you in like a little paper bag thing.
I did
Because
always want to try it, but I never did.
I would want to try it if you put two buns on the outside, so I didn't have to hold just a random piece of two pieces of chicken and just like smash them together.
I mean, I feel like it was marketed to people like me because I'm not a big bread guy. I feel like bread's always just been like the medium for the what's inside of the bread. If I could eat a sandwich and also enjoy the medium, which was normally the bread, I think I'd love it. But I just never got around to it. It was just such a small, limited time while it was here. So from now on, I got to jump on these flash in the pans that have happened in these amazing food establishments.
Yep, something like that.
God.
So I do have one more bonus one, because basically I want to check it out. It sounds cool. The Christmas star will be the closest visible conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn in 800 years. So December 21st this year, everybody. These two are going to be so close together that it literally is going to look like a gigantic star in the southwest. And they call this the Christmas star because there is a theory that the star in the Bible, the following the star to Bethlehem, might have been a planetary conjunction. So there was a moment where two planets were so close they looked like a gigantic star. And this Christmas star is happening December 21st, which is the winter solstice, the longest night of the year and the darkest night of the year. So everybody go and check it out.
2020. It's been so freaking weird in so many ways. Oh, man. It's been an interesting year, guys. It's been an interesting year. And yeah, that'll do it. This is the last episode of the Other Discovery Show, but we'll probably be doing some holiday things. Follow us on Twitch if you're not already following us. We're going to be doing some stuff during our break for sure. You can follow us over there at twitch.tv/podcast discovery show. And yeah, we'd love to hear from you guys. And we will talk to you guys in 2021. Actually, no, we're going to do holiday stuff too.
We're gonna do stuff. We'll be around. But thanks for listening.
Around. Bye. I still need a tagline.
We don't need a tagline.
I need a tagline.
Usually you're not getting your own head about it so bad.
No. No, this is what happens. We finish up and you stop talking completely every time. So it's like, okay, how do I land
it's because you keep talking.
How do I land this plane?
No, it's because you just keep talking. So I'm like, well, I'll just let him go for a minute.
No, that's not what happens.
That is what happens. That was like one long run-on sentence.
Southwest. What?
So now it is time.
The airlines?
No, she's saying because she's in the Southwest-ish. I don't know. But it's time for some video games, everybody. Thank you so much for checking out the stream. We really appreciate it. And stick around because what we're going to do is we're going to do a little switch. And as soon as you see this go down, you can pretty much hit refresh and you're going to be back.
I won't mess it up.
No, what I've been doing is I've been closing it before I tell him that I've closed it so he won't ruin it.
Shut up, Zach.
But yeah, thanks so much for checking it out. Hope you stick around. We're going to play some games next. I've heard Among Us thrown in there. I've heard Overwatch and maybe some late night Phasmophobia to end it all out. So yeah, thanks so much for checking out stream. And we will be right back.
BRB. I just realized there is an Among Us update.
All right, I'm about to end this. Get ready to push refresh.